Good morning, Service Alliance community. How is everybody doing out there on this fine Tuesday morning after a 3-day weekend?
Good
How
morning.
was your weekend?
My weekend was good. It was, as you can see, I got a lot of sun. When you're bald, you wear a hat, but we took the doors and tops off the Jeep and went on a Jeep run yesterday. Big run. My hat flew off at one point, and so I had to hold it a lot. So you have this happen.
Yeah, I haven't even taken the Camaro out yet. It's still in storage, still dirty. It's been
dirty,
on and off raining all the time. But I think I'm going to take it out.
A good week finally. Yeah, like the weather is supposed to be nice until like Saturday. So I'm leaving the tops and doors off.
I'm going to take it out this week, and then I'm going camping this weekend. So short week. Got some stuff to look forward to. So
yeah. Hey, we got a good topic today.
Good morning, Adam.
Hello, Adam. We are talking about customer experience excellence. Like, say that 5 times fast.
Customer experience excellence.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
I can say it once at medium speed.
Talking about customer journey mapping or workflow. We're talking about building customer loyalty programs, the power of exceeding expectations, and turning negative feedback into opportunity. And I've got a few things I hope to share with you today. Some actual things that you can see and maybe get the juices flowing. So, yeah, fun stuff.
All right.
Yeah. Speaking about getting your juices flowing, what should you do if your puppy isn't feeling well?
I don't know. What should you do if your puppy's not feeling well?
Take him to the dog tour. The dog tour.
All right.
No. Okay.
Well, good thing Adam's the only one watching right now.
I enjoy telling bad puns. That's just how I roll.
And eyes roll they shall.
Oh, Lord, help us today.
All right. Speaking of the Lord,
yeah,
we got a verse.
I got it. I got the prayer. Let's just go ahead and pray.
You got the prayer?
Lord, we need it. Lord, help us today. Give us the right words to say, and just be with us. Thank you for this beautiful day. Thank you for being able to talk with tens of hundreds of people, millions, thousands. I don't know. However many you put us in front of, that'd be great. And just thank you for this opportunity. Just help us to understand the words that you have for us today. And above anything else, as we go about our day, just help us to show your love to your people. Amen.
Amen.
Short and sweet today.
We got a verse that ties in with excellence today.
That's excellent.
It's Philippians 4:8. Finally, brothers and sisters, whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is admirable, if anything is excellent or praiseworthy, think about such things. So you got to get your mindset right.
True.
That's what you gotta think positive. You got to get your mindset right. And let's get into customer journeys.
Yeah. So, when I was putting this together, customer journey mapping is what come up. But, another good word for mapping is workflow. Maybe a little bit easier to comprehend with the word workflow. So customer journey workflow or customer journey mapping. With this one, you map out all the interactions that a customer has with your brand, from the initial awareness to that after purchase support, right? The follow-up stuff, for instance, like a retail store, they might have a touch point such as an online ad that gets you to come into the store, maybe a website visit, something like that. Maybe even something when you're shopping in store, they got those little coupons like spit out that you walk by and you grab one, you're like, "Oh, this is a cool coupon. Oh, I don't need that." And then you put it back on the shelf, right? So create uh, customer personas is another good one on this one. We did a thing many years ago called Melissa Data, and basically we gave them 5 years of customer data that we had, and they took that data and they turned it into our ideal customer, our avatar, if you will. And so our avatar at that point was, you would think, it was one way, but once we got the data and actually had 5 years of data to look off of, it was a 67-year-old white male who had a house that was worth about $127,000 in our area. That's kind of middle. He had his first primary car was a rather nice car, and then he had a secondary car. He liked to go work out at a gym, and it was weird how deep the data actually went. But the purpose of the data let us identify, okay, where we need to market, right? So if he goes to a gym, I might want to go get with a gym and start marketing if they have a board, that people go to. Maybe put a business card or a flyer or, something up on that. So finding out where your customers shop, or where they are, or even identifying your ideal customer, that's part of this. And then you can create that persona off. Um, you know, Another example is a tech company might have personas like the tech savvy millennial. That would be my son, Austin, or the older non-tech users. Techie, but not quite as much as Austin. So another good point. I'm gonna share a couple of pictures here, if I may. Is creating a workflow. I created this one the other day. Let me jump over here to this one. You can use. There's all kinds of software. Lucidchart, Maply. This one I just pulled off of Canva this morning, and it talks about the customer journey. This was a template. It was already done. I did nothing to this. I just downloaded it. And it talks about the customer journey, the process, right, through which a potential customer becomes aware of, engages with, and interacts with a business or its products or services. So goes through different stages. The other day I did a workflow and I shared it with the group here, the interview podcast workflow. So I created this, and for each one of these boxes, I created a process, right? That goes along with that box. So workflows, right? Customer mapping, getting into workflows,
So this becomes part of your SOP process.
it becomes the SOP process.
Yes. Sometimes you need to do this in order to start creating SOPs for your business so that you can
Yep.
know exactly what you need SOPs for, right?
Yep. So yeah, definitely a good thing. The customer journey. So hopefully it gives you an idea of customer mapping or customer workflow, right? And
I
gets you
think I think a lot of people um start at the beginning when they're doing customer journey mapping.
Mhm.
They It's more of the top of the line funnel. Like,
Yeah.
where are the customers? What's the process of the sales process? And then once they're sold, that's where you stop that customer journey. But what about going through
Mhm.
and continuing that on?
Yeah.
After the sale, after the work's been completed, all the next steps that you need to keep them as a customer.
Yeah.
Because let's face it, most customers aren't a once and done. The money's in the repeat.
Yeah.
So if you can get the repeat and the referrals, that's where you're really going to make money off of every single customer.
Yeah.
So you need to map out that customer journey beyond just the sales process.
Yeah. Another good aspect of the after sales process is our second topic, which is building loyalty programs for your customers. So we called them home protection plans for the longest time.
Hmm.
We joined uh, an organization in 2004 that was home protection plans. We we in 2007 or 8, I was part of a group that redefined those home protection plans. And so, I mean, hundreds, if not thousands, of electricians around the country are using um, loyalty programs that are called home protection plans. And so it's kind of cool to be part of that beginning process back in the day. So yeah, we've been doing loyalty programs since 2004. You know, the appliance world, we've got EJ's been at our shop a few times, and so we've brainstormed on customer loyalty program. I know we've got a few guys in here that are watching that are doing customer loyalty programs too, but um, there's a few different ways you can go about it. You know, uh, for me, it was kind of based upon a safety inspection. So I do an evaluation when I go to a customer's house, and it's just a very like a 10-point safety evaluation. But for my home protection plan members, I would do an inspection, and the inspection was much deeper. It was about 50 points. And, there was discounts involved. We had tried a points-based system at one point where customers earn points for purchases, which, you can redeem those points for free products or discounts or gift cards, things like that. Uh, that didn't go over well for us. I've heard of other companies that have done that, have done great with rewards programs. I mean, I use them all the time for, Sonic and Starbucks and, American Express has got that points program, right? They keep you with them because of their points. I've got a really good friend that they travel like crazy, and he plays the credit card game with the points. I mean, down to the point where he's got it like mapped out in a spreadsheet of, hey, this credit card, I get this many points within the first 3 months, and he knows how to play it where it doesn't affect his credit score either. So he's very smart about it. It's crazy. But when they travel, they don't pay for the travel. They use their points.
And
So
that's a benefit, right? So
yeah,
you should be using your benefits.
yeah.
So I
So
mean
think
that's
about that
really smart.
outside of the box stuff when you're trying to create your loyalty program. Tiered programs is another one I've used. We had 4 different tiers at one point for our home protection plan, and 4 was a little much. 3 was like the right number for us. We had 1 for the longest time, but the thing that I figured out was that customers love options, right? They love multiple solutions. So once I went from that single program to 3, which was kind of crazy, and I started selling more of the middle plan. And I'll give you a visual on this one. So, and the visual I got from that was given to me about this was a pool table store. So,
Is
a
this
guy
what
has
you want me to bring up?
no, no, we'll get that a little
Okay.
bit later. Is a pool table store. So, a guy has a pool table store. When you first walked into his pool table store, he has the cheapest pool tables right up front, right when you walk in the door. Then you go, he has the middle priced ones in the middle, and at the very back end, he has all the high end, super nice, beautiful table. Which one do you think he sold the most of?
Those middle ones.
No, the cheap ones right up front. Because people would walk in, they would see the cheap one, they'd see it's like, oh, this is super easily affordable. I can afford this. They go to the middle ones, like, yeah, this is nice, but I can afford that. By the time they got to the back one, they didn't sell hardly any of the high end ones. So he flipped his store one day. He put all the high end expensive ones in the very front when you walk in, kept the middle ones in the middle, and the cheapest ones in the back. So when you first walked in, now you saw the high end, super expensive ones. You're like, oh, this is super awesome, nice. I want it. I can't afford it. You go to the middle one. Oh yeah, this is nice. Okay, decent price. By the time you got to the back one, you're like, yeah, this is too cheap. I don't want this. This is crap. So which one did he start selling more of? The middle price
The
ones.
middle price.
Yeah, and so that's what I found with my home protection plans. I had a super easily affordable one and a high end one that was about 980. So they ranged in price from 199 to 980, and my middle priced one was like 466, and I sold the heck out of the 466 one. So yeah, it was kind of crazy when I first heard that story. I never forgot that story, and I use that a lot when teaching guys. So
Yeah,
um,
it's a great mental way to, I guess show them the best you got first,
yeah,
and then you've just empowered that customer to make a decision, and they love power. They love the
yeah,
power of decision making. It's because it's their decision, and because they made that decision, they're going to be happy with it.
yeah. That's the thing that I always say is don't be a pushy salesman, be that honest service expert. And when I'm with a customer, I give them all the details of everything that's a safety concern, and then occasionally there might be something that's like, "Hey, I think this would benefit you." Maybe a dimmer switch or, a whole home surge protection. There's very few times that I present things that weren't inside of the realm of why I was there, because then you just kinda sound like you're just a salesman, right? Trying to sell them stuff, and, I always wanted to be that honest service expert. So, yeah. Anyway, some
So
good stories there.
once you have that customer, how do we exceed their expectations?
Well, yeah, this one I love, and I've got a few visuals for this too. But it's the follow up, still part of that follow up, and exceeding expectation. I'll give you a few examples here. Let's go ahead and throw this up, Mike.
Throw this one up.
Yeah, go ahead. So, customer satisfaction surveys, right? I've been doing them since 2008. I pulled one up from 2011 here. Jason and Wes, very cordial and professional. Um, this is a little postcard that I used to leave with customers. This was before like we used to Google reviews and all that stuff, right? These were our Google reviews. And so on the other side of this, I had it already stamped. So I would ask the customer at the end of the job, "Hey, if you wouldn't mind, just fill this out, drop it in the mail, or give it to me before I leave, and I'll take care of it for you. I'd really appreciate your comments." And oftentimes people would feel awkward about, I don't want to fill this out and give it to you, the technician, right? Because I never presented myself as the owner. I always presented myself as a technician. If they asked me if I was the owner, I would say yes, because I'd never lied to them. But sometimes they would just feel awkward about giving you this. So that's why we put the stamp on it and they could throw it in the mail, right? So I had an entire book, like this thick, of these postcards at one point. Well, then comes along Google reviews. So we start using Google reviews and then Facebook reviews. So, but this was fun to have. I had to show this because I'm sure a few of the older gentlemen here uh, had postcards that they did at one time.
Yeah, it's definitely old school.
Another good follow up I used to do, before and after pictures. So, uh, just of jobs, right? Simple stuff. A before picture of a meter service and an after picture after we got done with it. When we was doing like major work, like a panel change out or a rewire, I would take pictures and throughout the job, and as soon as I was done with the job, I'd upload them and I would create an 8x10 picture and I would send it over to Walgreens. I'd pick it up, and within a day, I would drop that back by their house. I would call them up and say, "Hey, this is Jason with Service Detectives. I just want to swing by real quick. I've got a gift for you." And I would drop off this picture and just thank them for their business. Say, "Hey, here's some before and after pictures, of the job we did. Thank you for your business. If you ever need us, don't hesitate to reach out to us." I remember going back to a job one day, um, years later. I'm talking probably 7, 8 years later, and they had take that 8x10 picture and hung it up right next to the electrical panel. And I'm like, there we go. And the reason they called me was because of something as simple as an 8x10 picture that cost me about $4, right? For the picture in the frame. So that's that going above and beyond, exceeding customers' expectations, right? Just a couple examples. Another good example of not necessarily loyalty programs, but we had gifts that we would do for customers as well. So we teamed up with a local like cookie company. They did cookies and brownies and stuff like that. And what they would do is at the end of each week, we would send them a spreadsheet of the customers and how much they spent with us. And so they would take that, and we had already pre got with them on tiers. So if they spent more than like, $1,000, they got a pound of chocolate. If they spent like $2,500, it was a pound and a half. If they spent like over 5,000, it was like 2 pounds of chocolate. And they would ship it to the customer in a dry ice box so it wouldn't melt in the summer. And it was just one of those extra little things, right? No, there's companies all the time now doing this, but even back then, 10 years ago, it was kind of one of those unheard of things. You didn't really hear a whole lot of. But what are ways that you can exceed your customers' expectations, even something as simple as a picture, right? Yeah. What else have we got in this part of
I
the subject?
really like the idea of sending the customer something.
Yeah.
We've been thinking about doing that in our company too. To when someone signs on, send them like a welcome gift basket or box, things like
Mhm.
that. It just adds that appreciation and that personal touch
Yeah.
that they're not going to expect.
Yeah.
That's what makes you stand out.
Yeah. The over deliver and under promise aspect, right? That's a key. Think of Zappos. Zappos upgrade shipping to overnight. They don't even charge you an extra dime for it, right? It's a little thing for them, but it could be a big thing for us, especially if you need something in a hurry. So
Exactly.
anyway, I hope you got some good nuggets from that one, especially.
Yeah, but there's always a Karen out there. There's
Ooh,
you when you start doing volume, you always run into that one. And they're far and few between. They should be. But you get a negative customer every once in a while, or you honestly screw up. So we
yes,
gotta talk about turning some negative feedback into opportunity.
I'm gonna, if I find it while you're talking on this one, I'm gonna show you a Karen. So you talk a little bit.
All
Let me
right.
look for the
So
Karen.
what are some examples of implementing techniques to handle negative feedback? So you get a bad review. Everybody wigs out when they get a bad review.
Yeah.
Bad Google review.
Help
And
me! I gotta handle this bad review.
I've seen so many people, posting in forums, posting on Facebook. They're like, "Oh, I got this negative review, and the customer's all wrong." But you know what? Perception is reality in our
Mhm.
world, and there's nothing that you can do about it. But there's this thing, a term. You gotta own your stuff, right? um, Sometimes the customer is right. Maybe you didn't handle it as well as you thought you did.
Mm,
So you need to own it, and you need to look at it from an objective point of view and say, what could I have done better in this situation?
yeah.
And how can I turn it around? How can I address it? And sometimes you can't make a customer happy. Some people are just super negative and they just don't want to be helped.
Yeah.
Or they just want to fight you every step of the way. But the way you respond is huge, because it's not about the customer that you're responding to.
Mhm.
It's about every customer that sees that response in the future. And you can turn that negative review into a positive thing for future customers that are vetting your company and
Yeah.
whether they want to do business. They want to The first thing that I do when I go to Amazon, or if I'm on Google reviews looking at a company, the first thing I do is I want to see those negative reviews. I filter it to show me the negative ones first, because I want to know what's wrong with that product or service.
Yeah. And
And
how
then I
did the
want to
company
know,
respond? Yeah.
how did they handle it? Because
100%.
if they're going to fight that customer and respond like a total jerk, then that tells me a lot about that
Yeah.
company, right?
Yeah.
And do I want to do business? Because if I have a negative experience, how are they going to respond to me?
100%.
That's what I want to know.
Yeah.
So and usually the negative reviews are the absolute most honest ones.
Yeah. If you go look up service detectives on Google, we had like 2 negative reviews. And one of them, I actually got I got a customer off of it. When we asked, "How did you hear about us?" And they said, "Well, actually, I saw a negative Google review, but the reason I called you is because of how you handled the review and what you said in it. That's why I'm calling you." That's important. That's gold. That's good, Mike.
It is really important
Yeah.
because um it shows trust, right? It
Mhm.
shows that you care when you respond. And number one, you should be empathetic. You should always apologize for the situation, depending on what it is. I've listened to a lot of different, um I guess, advice
Mhm.
about should you apologize,
Yeah.
and a lot of people say don't ever apologize.
Mm.
And I think that's absolutely wrong,
Yeah.
because if you did something wrong and you truly know that you did something wrong,
Own
you
it.
damn well better apologize,
Yep.
and own your stuff, right?
Yeah.
That's the first step, and that's transparency. If
Yeah.
you screwed up, you screwed up. How can you correct it?
Yep.
Are you offering a corrective action to that customer? And I mean, this should be part of your workflow, right?
Yeah.
It should be part of your customer mapping. You should actually lay this out. If I get a negative review after the fact, how do I handle it? That should be
Mhm.
part of your SOPs,
100%.
and processes. And you should definitely lay that out and have step-by-step processes on how to handle it. Because they are going to be, fewer there, or they should be, or you probably won't be in business very long.
Yeah.
Or you shouldn't be the one dealing with the customers yourself. It's that simple. Um, but I think if you show customers your commitment to resolving issues, then that's going to go a long way,
Yeah.
on how you address the complaint.
For sure.
So implement a system for collecting and analyzing that feedback regularly. And just it's a good thing to actually take that data and actually collect it somewhere.
Yeah.
And at the end of the quarter, end of the 6 months, end of the year, just review how many reviews did we have and how many were bad.
Yeah.
And how did we handle it and what could we have done better. That's going to definitely help you evaluate your customer service and allow you to improve.
I'm gonna show you 2 more things. So I'm gonna show you my Karen
Your
and how
Karen.
my Karen and, so go ahead and throw those up there. It's a little bit grainy because I just pulled it off of a piece of marketing.
Yeah, you're going to
Uh,
have to read that.
yeah, but I'll tell you this, this was my experience with Karen. This is Karen Absher, and if you're watching Karen or when you watch this, I love you, miss you. Um, she was a customer turned client cheerleader. Absolutely loved us, loved our company. And one of her things that she said in one of those, we got a letter from her actually, and I ended up doing some interviews. She did some commercials for us. Great lady. I ended up using this on a marketing piece. The whole thing. This was a home show thing that I made, and I had that on here. It was 80 pounds. It was one of our first ones, and I turned it into a banner once we get started doing banners. But this says you're replaced my old electrical service panel with a new system. They did a great job and did everything exactly as it was explained to me. My old system was outdated and wasn't in very good shape. Plus, the electrician showed me exactly why it should be replaced in terms that I could understand. I feel safer knowing my electrical system is up to date. I sleep better at night too. Why would you not use that in marketing? That's gold right there.
Yeah.
That is gold. And so thank you, Karen, for being my good Karen. So, I was going to show. I found this one too. So this was a postcard that we did as well. We had some contest for customers. So thanks for being our customer. We invite you to dinner for 2 on us. Here's 3 easy ways to enter. Text this on your cell phone, scan this QR code, or follow us on one of these. And each month we entered them into a contest for dinner for 2 on us. Right. So kind of a cool thing.
Well, that's a great way to keep in touch with customers, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
The simple little postcard like that.
Yeah.
You know, it's a really great way to re-engage your existing customers. You know, and a lot of people forget to re-engage existing customers, you know, on their customer list.
And the other thing you'll notice is branding and consistency, right? So this is before we rebranded the Service Detectives. I've always been about branding and consistency, and also having the visual. We had all of our vehicles wrapped. So yeah, that's another topic we've talked about before. Or you can go watch a podcast I had with Dan Antonelli. So
Absolutely.
these are always. I picked the wrong button. There we go.
This is a great topic. So I love talking about customer service, customer excellence, because we all need it. We all need the reminders.
Yeah.
You know, so well, you ready to wrap it up? Any closing thoughts?
Yeah, just a recap of the customer experience excellence. 1, customer journey mapping or workflow. 2 is building customer loyalty programs. 3 is the power of exceeding expectations. 4, turning negative feedback into opportunity. If you liked it, if you got something from this, please pay the fee. Like it, share it, subscribe, all that good stuff, and help get the word out there. Appreciate
Just
y'all.
a reminder, June 15th is our next mastermind for our all access members, and good topic to segue into: 5 steps to 5 stars.
Ooh, I like that.
So that's going to be a really good one. So if you're not an all access member, go over to servicealliancegroup.com and sign up, and we'll get you in there. All right. Have a great week, everybody. Go out there and get some more happy customers.